Okay, so I don't know how many of you actually have any kind of interest in philosophy, but I think it's going to make a return in this age because we have a very fast expanding consciousness. And the reason why we have an expanding consciousness is because people are making new people, right? Because that's what expanding consciousness is. People don't really understand consciousness, and they don't really get why there's spheres floating around in space, okay? It's just spheres floating around in fucking space. And you've got these people at NASA, and they're like, oh, what's this shit floating around in space? Because we just have this natural curiosity to know, because we're looking up at space. And it's pretty fucking interesting, because we're just down here on the ground. And if you go with, like, oh, the Earth is flat, well, then that really changes their whole thinking of, like, the position for you against all the forces in your world, you know what I mean? Because we're sitting here and we're surrounded by all these elements, and we're these mechanisms, right, that can observe everything. Um, if you come to this agreement that we're living in 3D space, it sort of makes you want to know what's in all directions. And so you've got 360 times 360 degrees just for a quick, like, how do you visualize all the dimensions? You know, just a sphere is the best way to just go with something that expands. So anyhow, since we covered that now, we can go back. I know it's like I start multiple threads. Um, it's multiprocessing, like jumping between threads in the computer. Okay. So I got that far with you, and then I jumped back to, okay, so that's an explanation of how you expand consciousness. Okay. So consciousness comes from one point, then expands out. And that's sort of like, oh, the Big Bang Theory and all that shit. But that's the best way to explain it. Not like, oh, where did the universe come from? But that's not a universe that you're talking about. Universes that are actually not just matter. You know what I mean? Because matter just means fuck all. Because you have to have some reason for matter. So matter is data. Matter is data. Yin and yang, right? And then the consciousness is the opposite of that. Is a processing. So you have data and processing. So the whole big fucking universe, it's just an infinite amount of expression. That's what happens. And then here. Okay, so what are you going to think about everything that I'm saying? I mean, it's like higher abstract levels of thought. So the best way we can describe it is philosophy. But where does philosophy come from? Well, it just comes from people. And that's the only hope we have of understanding anything. Because once it comes from your mind, you can create something out of it. Whether it becomes like an expression, like picture, like art, or it becomes mechanics. So the mechanics part of it is just a different domain of thought. And you need expression, a way to do that. And so you need matter. And then you need consciousness to sort of navigate what it wants to do with all this infinite matter. And then you build multiple consciousnesses. And they just keep expanding. And then you find out everything. That becomes godhood. And I could jump back if you want me to go back to what is a black hole. I don't know what the current theory of a black hole is, but they certainly know that it just absorbs light and they don't know where it goes. Black holes just suck in light from everywhere. Black hole is some kind of overarching emergent consciousness because you got a bunch of spheres floating around in space. Well, where do you think that if you're using gravity to hold something together, that any kind of consciousness can possibly go? It just ends up sucking in, and then out of it forms a world. It's sort of like creating a new file in a computer, but you can do it automatically. It's like we're living in a giant computer. Is basically what's going on. Okay. For lack of a better description, because I mean the best way that we have now of formulating these ideas is just by using the what exists in the world around us as a basis for our thought. Back then, it was probably a lot different for human existence because we just don't have all these complex thoughts floating around and the multiple waves upon waves of people. So there you have it. I hope you were able to fragment your mind just slightly and put several thoughts on hold and then restart in order to kind of follow the line of thought, multiple lines of thought that I'm having. That helped me explain the whole philosophy that I have. And thank you very much for listening.